What is up, Watch fam, and welcome to Liquor Run. I am Christian from Theo and Harris, and you are
Rolly
from Theo and Harris. If you guys don't know what Liquor Run is, Monday through Friday, Theo and Harris talks watches, right? It's value in the world of horology. But on Fridays, we take a break. We wear watches, but we talk wine and value in wine. So what are we drinking today, Dad?
So keep the value coming.
Yep.
A 2015 Sauvignon Blanc.
Beautiful.
From Groth.
Okay.
Out of Napa Valley.
Famous brand, obscure brand?
Famous brand.
Cool.
It sits right next to the Opus One winery.
Oh, very cool. Very prestigious.
Everybody knows Opus One.
Yeah.
You can literally walk from Groth to Opus One.
Very cool. Before we get into this wine, wristwatch check. What are you wearing?
I'm wearing my gold Datejust.
1601.
1601.
Beautiful watch.
Yep, my birthday gift.
50th birthday gift from Mom.
My lovey.
This is a Gigi Cultra that I just sold in the Theo and Harris shop. Actually, today I just sold this today. It was listed today. Every Tuesday we list 5 to 6 new vintage watches on the shop, and this was one of them. This is an ultra thin. I mean, I think that this is just amazing how a watch could have been this thin. This is just to me it's a dress aesthetic masterpiece. So now let's get into the wine.
We're staying in America.
Yep.
And we're gonna head west to Napa Valley.
Cool.
As I mentioned before, Groth is actually a very, very well-respected winery in California, in Napa Valley, in Napa County. And for those of you who know Groth, you probably know Groth more because of the Cabernet Sauvignon. They're fantastic wines. And like I said to you before, Groth literally is a 3-minute drive from the Opus One winery. So the land is very, very similar.
Yeah, very interesting.
Okay, so needless to say, you have wonderful soil, prized soil,
Similar conditions,
similar microclimate.
Yep.
And needless to say, great wines come out of there.
Great.
But as expensive as the Cabernets are, they also make a very, very value-priced Sauvignon Blanc.
Price on this was?
It's like, I would say like $14.
Okay, yeah, I think it was like $14, $15.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's take a look at it. Let's open it up and take a look. Okay, first off, I have to say, new stemware. I think a viewer recommended that we step up our glass game. So, not that you didn't have it, but we were going a little bit ghetto in the glass game. So, I'm glad that you stepped up your game. What are you seeing in color that you like or dislike? What does it tell you?
Well, immediately, look at the greenish, yellowish color of this wine, right? Very different from the Riesling we had last week, and certainly very different from a Chardonnay, where it tends to be a little bit more golden in color.
Okay.
So this has a very distinct color, pale green yellow.
Yep.
That's important. That's important because Sauvignon Blanc typically has that color, that yellowish green, pale green yellow color. Okay. The nose. Automatically, this has a very distinct nose, citrus scents, I should say. Even a little tropical fruit, maybe a little like ripe pineapple. Okay, but definitely citrus is what comes to my mind. Very crisp. Okay, let's.
All right,
we gave it a little whirl here. Open it up a little bit, and let's taste.
Cheers.
Cheers. We're not spitting.
No, this is tasty. It has a bitterness to it, doesn't it? I mean, it's not overwhelming, but it's there. I think that it's there more than most other wines that I've tried. I'm getting it.
There's a lot of different flavors here in this wine. I definitely taste a little bit of honey. There's a residual sugar here for certain, but there's also that bright, like, acidity that races through.
Yeah.
This is very distinct. This is very different from the wine we had last week.
It's pretty alcoholic too, isn't it?
Well, it has an alcoholic finish.
Back end, yeah, for sure.
It does, but there's a lot of lively fruit here. A lot to me, things that remind me of like fresh fruit.
Yep.
A fruit platter.
I said I'm still getting more of that kind of acidity or bitterness. Are you getting a bitterness, or is that just me?
It's a very, very slight hint of it.
I'm getting it. I think I'm getting it more than you because I'm not getting the honey. I'm getting a honey a little bit, but not as much as this kind of bitter note.
So this has a lot of like tropical qualities to it. Sauvignon Blanc's a very popular wine. When you go to restaurants, I always like to listen to hear what people are ordering. Sauvignon Blanc is definitely something that you hear folks order, especially at the bar. Yep. Again, as I mentioned before, Groth is an excellent winery that probably doesn't get the props that it ought to. And I think that's probably reflected in the prices. And so imagine that the Oakville Cabernet, for instance, if we're talking about red wines, sells for about $59 a bottle. You go down the street and you've got the Opus One folks. Obviously, they're making a blend there, but that wine you can't touch for probably less than $125, right? But the grapes are so darn close there, and they're being given the same kind of love that those Opus One grapes are getting.
Okay.
So this family's been doing this since 1981. They've virtually replanted all of their vineyards. About 90% of the vineyards have been replanted with different clones that match the soil. So they've taken a lot of painstaking steps to create a world-class winery, and it's great, right? They're not dealing just in reds; they're also doing these, I think this wonderful example of Sauvignon Blanc. So for those of you that are not familiar with Sauvignon Blanc, you'll also find it in the old world. You'll find it in France, in the Loire. In the Loire Valley, you'll find it as Fumé Blanc, Sancerre. That's going to be a really cool version of this grape in a different type of way. One thing that you don't see on the bottle is that there's anywhere between 9 to about 18% Semillon blended into this wine.
Okay.
Okay.
Why does that matter?
That matters because while we were just talking about the Loire in Bordeaux, like Bordeaux Blanc, when they're making white Bordeaux.
Yep.
They're taking Sauvignon and they're blending it with Semillon. Why is that important? Well, it's important because Semillon rounds out Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon Blanc tends to be a very light wine with like real steel acidity.
Okay.
Semillon rounds it out, gives it almost an oily texture, like a waxy flavor.
Right.
We're probably tasting that maybe on the sweeter notes, on the fat, makes it a little bit fatter.
Okay.
And now those are all weird terms, right? How can a wine be fat? But it's how it feels in your mouth, right?
As opposed to, I think that you're right, with acidity, it probably is a punching, very straightforward. Yep.
And that's how Sauvignon Blanc is. It's a very, very tight.
But by kind of smooth, softening that edge with the Semillon, that's the function there. What would you want to enjoy this with food-wise? What are you thinking?
I think I would do some cheeses, maybe some younger cheeses.
Okay.
Not
why
mature.
Younger as opposed to mature cheeses?
Well, I think mature cheeses work better with red wines.
Okay.
They have a little bit more complexity to them, but I think I would probably do a goat cheese with this wine. Certainly, you can do a chicken dish, pork. Okay, but also maybe something with an Asian flair to it. I think because there's a little bit of sweetness to this wine. That to me, I think you could even pair a little bit with an Asian inspired cuisine. So that's where I'm thinking. And I don't really drink too much Sauvignon Blanc.
I usually don't think of wine when I think Asian.
Yeah, you're right. We drink beer.
I drink beer. Yeah. Schaefer's. When you're housing a pad thai or something. But I am enjoying this. It's a tasty wine.
This is a really good wine. Make no mistake about it. This is a very well balanced wine. Good for me. Good acidity. There is that little bitter note at the end. I completely agree with you. But there's also beautiful fruit throughout the palate. And that to me is what.
But definitely, in my opinion, more of an apple than a pineapple. I'm not getting his pineapple. Are you?
No, I think you're right. I do get that. I get that. Like almost like underripe pineapple, not that lush mango type.
Yeah, I'll go with that because I think
it's harder pineapple.
There's definitely a difference there, though.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a difference when you're tasting different kind of levels of ripeness in the pineapple, and I do agree with you on that one.
Isn't it cool that we can stay in our own country and
have a really
You think Sauvignon Blanc for me? Typically, I think Sancerre from the Loire Valley in France, but yet here you've got a beautiful example for a great price.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
All right, well, this was delicious. I seriously am enjoying it. Pour yourself another quarter of a glass here, and we'll probably finish this after. But thank you guys for watching Liquor Run. This Groth Sauvignon Blanc is actually really delicious, right? At $14, $15 range.
Yeah.
Even if you paid an extra $1 more, I wouldn't cry about it because it really is a very tasty wine. And that's it. So check the wine out. If you see it at the liquor store, pick it up or go make your own Liquor Run. Thank you guys for watching today's episode, and cheers.
Cheers, salud.